Hello and welcome to Rehab and Recovery with Dr. Miles Sandoval. I am Dr. Miles Sandoval. I'm a physical therapist specializing in online recovery coaching and meal support to help my clients define and defend their addiction recovery for life. Now that we are past the family gatherings and the craziness of the holidays that happen between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day, we get to refocus on the things that really matter, like science and how it pertains to your addiction recovery at home. It was also really good to have some family time and have some downtime and have some celebration time. But I think a lot of us who do some traveling and maybe see a lot of people during the holidays that we don't usually see, I think there is a little bit of a relief once most of them are over with and life kind of gets back to normal, depending on what your normal is. But in that vein, all the way back in last year, I was talking about the principles of neuroplasticity in addiction recovery, and that's what I really want to get back to. So today, we are going to be talking about the third principle of neuroplasticity in addiction recovery, which is specificity, according to Kleim and Jones' 2008 article, linked in the description below. And basically what Kleim and Jones meant by specificity, I'm going to let them say it in their words, was that the acquisition of your skills is specific to the practice that you do. And what that really means is that if you practice riding your bike, or if you're learning how to ride a bike, it can help you get really good at riding bikes. But no matter how much you practice riding your bike, it's not going to teach you how to ride a unicycle, right? So the learning and the practice that you did was specific to bike riding. And that applies to many, many different skills, both in the physical and cognitive realm. For example, if you practice learning a foreign language like French, then you'll probably get better at speaking French, right? But practicing French, aside from a few correlations, isn't going to mean that you instantly also know Italian or German, right? So these things are specific. And what that really means in addiction or eating disorder recovery is that we have to make the practice of recovery specific to the obstacles. And something I unfortunately see a lot of people get caught in is this cycle where they're going to their therapist and they're talking about what's going on in their lives, but they don't make goals for what little practices or what little exercises they're going to do that week in order to practice getting around or getting over or getting through those obstacles. And to connect it to my earlier analogy, it's a lot like if you went into your therapist's office every week and talked about riding a bicycle and what it would be like and how you're learning everything you can about bicycles, and you're learning that it has a lot to do with balance, and you learn about the different kinds of bikes and the different kinds of bike sports. But you never go home and get on a bike. And I really don't want to come down hard on therapy because there are a lot of good therapists who are very knowledgeable about addiction, who build this in to part of their work, and who keep, I don't want to use the word pushing, but who keep encouraging their clients to go home and make real life goals and then meet those real life goals so that they can learn how to recovery, because recovery is a practice. And I really feel for folks who kind of get caught in this purgatory of talking about issues without necessarily doing a lot about them at home, because kind of the default advice for somebody who's struggling with a mental health issue or a difficult behavior that they're having a hard time changing is go get therapy. And so if you're in it, you can feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to and I'm not getting better. But firstly, I'd invite you to consider, if you are in therapy, being real proactive and asking your therapist, hey, these things that we're talking about are really important. What can I do this week to help bring them into my life? Because depending on what your issues are, overcoming obstacles can always be broken down into little bits and pieces of specific practice. Like if your issue is alcohol and you're working on expanding your recovery so that you can go back to playing live music at bars or restaurants that serve alcohol in the future, you can practice that when it's appropriate by doing little things like driving past a bar and not going in and not purchasing alcohol. Little practice. And then maybe the next week after that, you walk into the bar and say hi to the bartender that you know without buying alcohol. And that way you can kind of build up a more and more spacious recovery. Another way to do that is to consider adding recovery coaching to the therapy that you are getting, because there are so many underlying issues that are important to talk about in therapy. There's only so much you can do in an hour a week. So a lot of people find it helpful to save therapy as that kind of safe space to talk about issues that feel really unsafe, but then also use coaching as a way to set, meet, and expand real life goals for themselves in the practice of recovery in real life. So I got off on a tangent somewhere, but the big takeaway that I want y'all to take at home is that if you know that there's an issue or there's an obstacle in your life, usually the only way to face that obstacle is by practicing facing the obstacle. You can talk around it in 20 different ways, but talking about sitting with anxiety or talking about refusing a drink when it's offered, it doesn't always prepare you for practicing that scenario in real life, which is so important in relapse prevention. So if you are in therapy and you are feeling a little bit stuck, consider reaching out and adding recovery coaching to your current support system, just to see if it can help one, help protect you from relapse, and two, help you put some of those lessons into action. And the link to my website where you can hop on and talk with me for 15 minutes to see if it might be a good fit for you for free is also in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. In the next video, we are going to be talking about Kleim Jones' fourth principle of neuroplasticity: repetition matters. So stay tuned for that one, and I'll talk to y'all again very soon.